I'm giving you the story because I want you to see how fascinated white people are when black people are not afraid. Okay? And we got to study the fearless. When I was in South Africa, I went to Shaka Zulu's grave. Okay? Bad man. Shaka was bad. Shaka was so bad that he didn't even have to fight the white man because they was too scared. They had guns and bombs. Shaka had spears, and the white man said, "We're going to wait this one out." Because Shaka Zulu invented guerrilla warfare. So when a white man would try to creep up on KwaZulu, the kingdom, Shaka would have his men under the ground, camouflaged in with the soil. So when the white man would walk, imagine men coming up from under your feet with that Zulu spear. So the white man didn't mess with Shaka. They waited until he died. And what did Shaka say on his deathbed? Shaka said, "You killed me today, but you have no idea that tomorrow the swallows," which is the white man, the swallows will overrun KwaZulu. This kingdom will never be as it was ever again. And he said within 4 years of Shaka's death, the Dutch had come and taken KwaZulu. Shaka was bad. They still study Shaka Zulu military strategy in European colleges today. That's how bad that black man was. Fearless in front of white folks. Jean-Jacques Dessalines of Haiti, after Toussaint went to Paris and died in captivity, and Jean-Jacques Dessalines told Toussaint, "Don't go meet with Napoleon." But Toussaint, who I think might have been biracial, thought he could trust the white blood. So he went down there, they trapped him, sent him back to Paris, and Jean-Jacques Dessalines said, "I told you, you never trust the white man." And then when Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who was the first emperor of Haiti, they had assassinated him because he was unapologetic as hell. He ain't gonna damn. He said, "Cut the white man's heads off." Guess what he did? He would put their head on a staff at the beachfront. So when the French would come up, they would see all their generals' heads in a line and go to hell back to France. That's how Jean-Jacques Dessalines did. He understood the white man. Many of us don't really understand the nature of the devil. We don't get it. And then one time, one of the soldiers went to Jean-Jacques Dessalines and said, "Emperor, some of those white men out there are Roman Catholics like us." Jean-Jacques Dessalines said, "Well, guess what? When you go out there to fight, if you see Jesus Christ, tell Jesus Christ that I said if he gets in my way, he will get it too." Now, he didn't mean it as religious disrespect. He was trying to make a point that when you at war, you cannot let your religious imagination confuse you as to who your enemy is. That's the problem with African people. We think because white folks are Christians or Arabs or Muslims that somehow opens up a line of communication. It does not. They will simply use the religion as another strategy to oppress and colonize you. Are you not aware that every black community on the planet is dominated by a non-black person? When I was in South Africa, I was angry because the South African government has reclassified Chinese as black people. In South Africa, if you Chinese, you are black. And they now require the teaching of Mandarin, which is an Asian language, in the South African schools. And do you know why they're doing that? Why would they make Chinese to be black? Like in America, they made gay to be black. Okay? Because they're going to use them to replace the indigenous South Africans. Remember, before you can exterminate a people, you must first make sure you don't need them economically. That's why they bring the Mexicans in America to take all the $5 and $10 jobs so you don't have no job at all. I can't get rid of you when Walmart needs you. I can't get rid of you when McDonald's needs you. I can't get rid of you when GMC and Microsoft needs you. So I have to bring somebody else in to take all the low-wage jobs so you have no job. So when I exterminate you, there is no economic repercussion. Okay, we're going to take them to Virginia to the Nat Turner Reserve, okay, which is owned by Brother Khalifa. Some of y'all know Elder Khalifa. He actually printed Amos Wilson's Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. Okay, he's probably the foremost expert in the world on Nat Turner. And for those of y'all who don't know, some of Nat Turner's descendants still live on that land and own it. Okay, and y'all know it was called Jerusalem, Virginia, right? Jerusalem. And the revolution took place on what? August the 21st, which according to some groups of Christians is the original birthday of Christ. Okay? So Nat Turner had that Christ energy in many respects, and he was crucified for it. In fact, when Nat Turner was captured, and by the way, one of Nat Turner's most revolutionary warriors was a black woman. I don't know if y'all know this. I'm forgetting the sister's name. Okay, but this sister, when they caught her, she cursed the white man all the way to the gallows. And even when they put the noose around her neck, she still cursed the crackers, called them devils and heifers and mother heifers and everything. And they said that black woman showed no fear until she died. From the moment she got captured, she was robbed or died, never once harming herself. In fact, there was a whole crew of sisters who fought with Nat Turner in the Nat Turner War. Okay? Nat Turner was a bad man. He said God inspired him to lead his people out of bondage, and he had to do it. And so on that night, August the 21st, he got Hart and Travis and all the rest of his homies together. And he said, listen, tonight is the night. Okay? And they went and they said they're going to kill everything white they saw. Birds, cats, mice. If you was white, they got you. It was lump. It was over. Okay? And I think Nat Turner, personally, I think he killed a white woman. I think that might have been his only kill. The white woman tried to get away. He said, I'm sorry, but I get with you. But when it was over, he murdered almost 60-some white folks. So then when they finally caught Nat Turner, because you know that the conspiracy or the mystery around Nat Turner is he never escaped when he could have. Because before the revolution took place, he had actually disappeared for weeks. Nobody knew where Nat was at. He came back to lead the revolt. He stayed in hiding for several weeks. Could have snuck away. Some people thought he got captured on purpose. Nobody knows why Nat didn't disappear. Some people say he stayed around because he wanted to get whoever was left and fight another revolution. So when they finally caught Nat Turner, he got arrested. He was put in jail. The jailhouse is still there, by the way. Even now, to mention his name amongst white folks is not a good acceptable thing. They still shriek from Nat Turner 180 years later. Okay? So when Nat Turner was locked up, the white man came in to interview Nat Turner. Okay, William Styron, who plagiarized a lot of what Nat Turner had to say. Because as you know, white people can't let black people have heroes. That's just how. Whenever you find somebody that you like, they got to go and condemn them. Like they did with the Malcolm X Manning Marable book. Where they tried to say Malcolm was gay and all this other stuff. With no evidence or proof whatsoever. And I'm not so sure Manning Marable wrote that because he died before it got published. In fact, they might have killed him so they could rewrite it. Because Malcolm X is one of the few images of assertive masculine black manhood in this country who the white man has not been able to successfully destroy in the minds of black people. You understand? Malcolm is one of the few. Never cheated on his wife. None of that. He's one of the few shining examples we have. So the white man is always trying to kill that Malcolm X legacy. And why is it so important to kill your heroes? Because the example of a hero will inspire you. So you got to keep the heroes dead. Because somebody will read Marcus Garvey and try to become Marcus Garvey. They will read Harriet Tubman, try to become Harriet Tubman. So you have to control the image of the heroes to the victims before they bring it back to life again. Okay, heroes are ghosts that are waiting to be woke up again by their descendants. So, the white man went to Nat Turner and said, I heard that you said God put you on this mission. And Nat Turner said, yes, the Lord led me to do what I'm doing. And then the white man said, well, if the Lord led you to raise up against the white man, and now you are captured and your revolt has been unsuccessful, doesn't that mean your Lord has failed you? And that bold black man, Nat Turner, looked up at that white man, waiting before he got home, and said, no, my God did not fail me, because even Jesus Christ had to be crucified. Now, how many of y'all would go out like that? Y'all be like, well, I really didn't know what I was doing. I think I was high. Is it possible we could go to church and pray and maybe be redeemed? Nat Turner was unapologetic. And then when they took Nat Turner across the street to be hanged, I took some of that because they still had the cotton that grew up. I put some there in my altar too. I was born on August the 21st, the day the revolt started. They said they put the rope around Nat Turner's neck. They said Nat Turner stood there like this. No fear. White people looking at him. I said, this nigga ain't scared nobody. He's standing there. And then when they finally hoisted him up, you know your head shakes because you're grasping for oxygen. He said Nat Turner's body never shook or nothing. He went to a peaceful death with a hanging. And they said the white folks were so amazed at this man's lack of fear that when they laid his body down after he was confirmed dead, you know what the white folks do? Ice people. They took their knives out and started cutting and dismembering that because every white person wanted a piece of him to go home. Testicles, ears, lip, tongue, they all took a piece of that. And then they cut his head off and sent his head to Harvard University to be studied. Ice P, and you want to integrate with it, to be studied. Look what they did. They said Nat turned his head to Harvard and asked the scientists, can you please tell us what made this Negro so different? So they studied his skull, because back then they had this pseudoscience called phrenology, where they could just look and tell you what was wrong, because white people really wanted to, they was impressed and startled by this black man who wasn't scared of white folk. And guess what? Guess who owns Nat Turner's skull today? I believe it's a black lawyer who bought the skull from whoever had it before. And so Elder Khalifa is trying to get Nat Turner's skull returned to Drewryville, which is that section of Jerusalem as it has been named, to give Nat Turner a proper burial. Can you believe after 180 years, he has never been properly buried? His head has been passed around for 180 years.